Good morning, good afternoon, Facebook. Holly Toronto back here, talking to you about women's bodies, women's and men's bodies. But anybody who's been looking at my Facebook feed lately will realize that I've been talking a lot about bodies and self-acceptance, and this is at the heart and at the root of the work that I do. This is why I wake up in the morning. This is why I became a coach, because I believe that every single woman and man and child on planet Earth deserves to feel good in their bodies. Because if we don't feel good in our bodies, then we can't show up in our lives in the way that we want to. So some of you might have seen an Instagram post that I posted this morning that says, "My body is perfect, whole, and complete." And this affirmation, if you will, is something that maybe a couple of years ago would have been really challenging for me to write. If you're watching live, I would love to know who's here. So if you could leave a comment or say who's here, or do a heart, something like that, so I know that you're here. But a couple of years ago, saying something like that about my body would have been like, it just wouldn't have happened, because, well, first of all, I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that my body was perfect, whole, or complete. And also, to me, it would have felt like, oh, are people going to think I'm conceited or narcissistic, or that I have an inflated view of myself? However, I really started to get a grasp on my thoughts, and that they quite literally create your reality. So I don't think that this is a new concept for many people, the idea that your thoughts create your reality, that we live in a mirroring universe, that what goes on up here is mirrored back to us in our experience. But the way that it's talked about oftentimes is in terms of our career, or our financial situation, or our relationships. And it's not really talked about in terms of our bodies, this physical vessel that's moving our souls through life, right? And so we live in a mirroring universe. And what this means is that what we allow up here, our beliefs, our thoughts, mirror back to us in our experience. And at the time, a couple years back, what I was allowing into my mind, what the beliefs that I had about myself were that I'm fat, that I have massive thighs, that my cellulite doesn't allow me to wear shorts, that if I eat a bagel, I'll gain 5 pounds. So these were beliefs that were happening in my head, right? And they were mirroring back to me in my experience. And they mirrored back in the form of emotional eating. So I had some food addiction that I was dealing with, mirrored back to me in depression, low self-worth, low self-esteem, and ultimately just making really poor choices for my body. And since then, I've become a student and a facilitator and a client of the transformational coaching method. So that's the methodology that I'm trained in as a coach. And the transformational coaching method is all about learning to create new beliefs about myself that allow for a more empowered experience of life, that allow me to identify with what I desire as opposed to what I don't desire. So oftentimes when we're looking to lose weight, or we're looking to change something about our bodies, we're identifying with the experience that we don't want to have. So we're identifying with, oh, I don't want to feel fat anymore, or oh, I don't want to have like big thighs anymore. So we're identifying with that experience, as opposed to identifying with the experience that we want to be having. Like, I want to feel energized in my body. I want to look in the mirror and feel good. And the transformational coaching method really allows you to learn how to identify with the experience that you want to be having. And it starts with reframing or updating our beliefs about ourselves. So basically what that looks like for me is no longer tolerating the crap that I was saying about myself in my head. So if you think about some of the things that you might say in your head, most women are guilty of this. Would you tolerate someone else saying that to you? Like, if I think about if somebody else said to me like, oh, you have really big thighs, you should probably do more lunges, like I would have probably like slapped them or something like that. Like, you can't talk about me like that. Or think about actually saying something that you say about yourself to other people. Like if I were to say something to somebody else like, ooh, you have really big thighs, you should probably do something about that. Like, no, that's completely unacceptable. So why do we tolerate saying it about ourselves? And I mean, that's a topic for a whole other video that I'll probably get to one day, because I do believe that that's at the root of the problem, is how we're socialized to talk about our bodies, especially as women. So when we update our self-talk, right, we create space for new beliefs to be formed, new, more empowering beliefs about our bodies, which starts to mirror back to us in our experience. So when I wake up in the morning and I say to myself, my body is perfect, whole, and complete. My body is a divine, magnificent expression of life, and it's exactly where it needs to be right now. That is mirrored back to me in my experience. So it's mirrored back to me in a way that I choose the foods that are most aligned with that experience. I choose the activities that are most aligned with that experience. My body wants to feel energized and perfect and whole. I will choose that which is aligned with that. My body seeks pleasure, it desires pleasure, and that may or may not look like indulging in a cookie that day, or it may look like going for a walk, but allowing my body to feel that pleasure. Empowered bodies don't have to spend 5.5 hours a week thinking about food and thinking about their next meal. So the average woman spends about 5 to 5.5 hours of her week thinking about her next meal or thinking about food, which that to me is, it's like imprisonment of the mind. It's not a good use of our brain space as women, as powerful women. We could be dedicating that brain space to something much more important to us, or dedicating it to our family time, or to just, I don't know, not having to feel like crap about ourselves. Empowered bodies don't feel guilt and shame, right? So I don't feel guilt and shame anymore when I choose to eat something like a bagel or drink a glass of wine. And yeah, it's really all about what's going on up here and allowing that to be mirrored back in our experience. So that's my tip for you today, is to identify with the experience that you want to be having for your body, and to update your self-talk. No longer allow that subconscious mind to be in there saying all this crap about yourself. Like, it's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. And just when you're looking at the mirror, allowing yourself to say things like, this body is perfect, whole, and complete. My body is intuitive. My body knows exactly what it needs at any given time. It is a divine, magnificent expression of life, and it is exactly where it needs to be right now. And as you start to say these things, you're going to allow them into your subconscious beliefs, and then it will be mirrored back to you in your experience of life. So this is the stuff that I do every day. This is what I get so excited about. It is a practice. It's absolutely a practice. It's something that took me a long time to figure out, and it's something that I work with my clients on. So if this intrigues you at all, if you have any questions about it, if you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, Holly, please feel free to leave a comment below or private message me. It's literally why I wake up in the morning, is to talk about this. Because I believe, again, that every woman and man and child deserves to have an empowered experience in their body, deserves to feel good, deserves to feel energized, and deserves to have all of that without guilt or shame or restriction or deprivation. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope it was of service to you. If you liked it, please feel free to leave a heart. And until next week, peace and love, my friends. Bye.